universities of the country, they maintain the UGC care list for the purpose of UGC. Okay, and then UGC care journals about which I just now talked. So there are more than 20,000 journals which are there in UGC care, which I think you can have a look at it and then get the information out of it. So what are the factors to assess publications and journals? Publications is by individual, journal is by an agency. That agency could be a non-profit, not-for-profit agency. For example, Law Commission is not a profit, not-for-profit, but elsewhere it is for profit. So it's a private publishing house. Wiley is a publishing house. Taylor Francis is a publishing house. Like Elsevier is a publishing house. Springer is a publishing house. So these are all publishing houses which essentially look at generating enough money so that they can sustain, and maybe they serve the scientific community. But uh, for example, Law Commission, which we all know, the Indian Academy of Sciences. So they're all agencies which are supported by governments, and therefore they are not really looking for profits. So Royal Society of Chemistry, or American Chemical Society, or American Society of Law, or Cornell Journal. I saw that one of the top journals in the world is the Cornell Journal, Cornell's Journal Law Review, Cornell Law Review. So Harvard Law Review is also another very top journal of the world. So they are not there to make profit, but then there are some private agencies which are there to make profit. So what we have to do as an assessor, try to publish in a journal which is not there to make profit that is our first choice. Then the second choice is that even if it is a journal is there to make a profit, but it should not charge the authors. It should be free for authors. So that at least second thing that we should be looking into. Now, let me get into more details about how do we assess the journal. One of the important thing that has emerged in past 40, 50 years is the impact factor maintained by Thomson Reuters as a barometer or a gauge for the journal. So with journal's goodness. So whether the journal is a good journal or not journal, people go with impact factor. Although impact factor itself is not very perfect. So, but that is one way of looking at it. And then let's look into what is an impact factor and how impact factor is useful for us to assess a journal, and what are its pitfalls. Okay, journal impact factor, what is it and why to use it in the first place? Okay, so what is it? Journal impact factor. Journal impact factor is a measure of the frequency with which average article in a journal has been cited in a particular year. It is used to measure the importance or rank of a journal by calculating the times its articles are cited. Let me also elaborate what is written here. Impact factor is a measure of frequency. That means how many times that the articles published in a given journal is cited by others. Others mean not only its own publication, by other publishers. I mean, when people publish a paper, they cite the work of the earlier authors while reviewing the literature. So when they review the literature, they cite the authors, they cite the articles published in a journal. So if a journal is a good journal, it should have a high impact factor. If it has a high impact factor, that journal is read by more people. So citation is an indication of the people reading the articles which has been published. So we expect people to read because our work is a good work. So our work is a good work. How do we know? Because others read it and apply in their own work so that the knowledge gets enhanced, and then more our work is cited, more important is our paper, and the journal that carried is a better journal. So in many respects, this impact factor is a measurement of that. Well, it is calculated. Therefore, I should show you how it is calculated. So it is calculated on the basis of number of times that papers in a given journal is cited by others. and therefore and divided by number of articles that it publishes. So it is calculation is based upon a 2-year period. Generally, impact factor is a factor worked out by Web of Science, and then it uses 2-year period and involves dividing the number of times the articles were cited by number of articles that were citable. That means a journal publishes 10 articles and the 10 articles were cited 200 times. That means 200 by 10, 20 is the impact factor in 2 years period, remember. So if we give an impact factor of a journal of 2020, that means that it was taken into account of past 2 years. This is more so in sciences, this is very clear, but in humanities I am not so sure. But then when we say that in humanities, we would also consider that what they really want to, whether somebody cites or not. But I think that the people cite basically because they want to, they have read the paper and they have used the knowledge which was there in the paper for advancing the knowledge that they have done themselves. So the impact factor goes like this. Number of times the article, so for example, calculation of 2010 impact factor of a journal is equal to A is the number of times the article has been published in 2008 and 2009 and were cited by index journals during 2010. So in 2010, the articles published in 2008 and 2009 were cited is the number. So that number, total number of citable items published in 2008 and 2009 is another number B. So A by B is 2010 impact factor. Like I told already that 10 papers were published, 200 times it was cited, 200 divided by 10, 20 is the impact factor. But you see there are many issues here. Of course, I taken this information from the internet available, and what I have given here down below is a link to from the information where I took. So you can also access them. This is not so big. This is all not by original or anything. So I am actually giving information which I accessed. I will share this PPT. If you are interested, you can access this information even a greater detail and tell yourself. Okay. So why is impact factor of a journal should not be used for evaluating research? After this impact factor came into picture, several people came out with publications that what are the pitfalls in impact factor. One, you can see that these papers published in a journal, total number of papers are published in a journal. Now there may be a single paper which got cited more, but the impact factor of a journal increased although number of papers published are not getting cited. So this is one paper by Peter O. Sagan is considered to be one of the topmost papers in this field of criticizing the impact factor, why should not be used. And another paper given by Indians, therefore I have stated it here, that is by Ankur V. Desai and his co-workers, Journal Impact Factor, its use, significance and limitations. So you might want to read these two papers to get more insight, but I have actually created a salient features of here. So impact factor against its use. I think there is some internet problem. Let me just, you are able to see that, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. No issue. Yes. Na? You are seeing it. Na? So what are the impact factor pitfalls in impact factor? So journal impact factors are not statistically representative of individual journal articles. Like I told already, that in a journal there may be 10 articles, but only one got cited so many times. But impact factor calculation takes about all the 10. Therefore, an individual impact factor, individual paper impact factor is not taken into consideration. That's how what happens when individuals are writing papers, they can look at their own citations. That means how many times their paper has been cited can be seen. At the end, I will be showing you. Journal impact factor correlate poorly with actual citations of individual articles. Authors may use many criteria other than impact factor impact when submitting it to your journal. Generally, law journals, authors of law journals submit to a law journal, right? Now, when they submit it, they might include several factors when they are publishing a paper. One, their, they send a paper and quickness of publication. That means that their paper gets published within 1 month or 2 months. They may not send to a journal, although journal is a good journal, but they take too much time to publish it. That's one factor. Second factor they will do is a national. That means I will send it to my own country's journal, and not to a foreign journal. So that's one other way of looking at it. There's nothing wrong in anything, but that is what. Then paid and unpaid. Some people do not want to publish a journal in a paper in a journal, although journal may be a good journal, but where authors pay. So these are the criteria which people use when they are thinking of publications in a journal. Now there are other therefore the journal impact factor may not be totally reflecting everything connected with the assessing. Citation to non-citable items are erroneously included in database. One, it happens in sciences that people cite even if they need not be cited. So erroneous citations, non-citable items are also included. Some reference to a seminar or that are also sometimes cited, they are also included. Now self-citations, that means I cite my own paper. Therefore, that is generally considered to be not appropriate in many respects, but the impact factor does not differentiate whether one cited their own paper or somebody else cited. Ideally speaking, somebody else cited should be taken into account. Review articles. Another factor which is more true in sciences, less true in law, is that when you review the whole thing, whole topic, and that gets cited much more, many times more compared to this where this is not a review article. So review articles are generally are cited many more times. That's how they boost the impact factor of a given journal. Long articles collect many citations and give high impact factor. So sometimes what happens, we cite the articles which we would like to cite rather than they are worthy enough to cite or not. So generally people, individuals cite high impact factor, papers published in a high impact factor. It's like money breeds money. That means if the impact factor is high, then people also cite that such journals more, thinking that referees will accept the paper because we cited the high impact factor journals. Therefore, high impact factor journals get citations even though sometimes they are not worthy of it. Okay. Short publication lags also. Many short term journals, self-citation gives a high journal. So if you have a short publication lag, and so there are more, there's smaller papers, more references, like that it happens mostly in sciences. Citations in national language of journals are preferred by journal authors. Sometimes what happens, particularly it happens in humanities, people would like to submit into a vernacular journal, that means Hindi, Telugu, Tamil or Marathi, but then that journal doesn't get cited by anybody else. So therefore, although there is a high content is there, which is worthy enough to be read by others, people simply don't read them. So generally what we do, we actually try to publish in a high impact factor journal because we believe that by publishing in such journals, our work gets cited much more. Okay. So there's another thing that we have, selective journal self-citation. Articles tend to preferentially cite other articles in the same journal. Particularly some countries, I think there is a concerted effect that I cite your paper, you cite my paper, so that to boost the individual citations as well as journal impact factor. But these are all, not supposed to be correct way of doing things actually. So this is the information I have taken from the Selgen's article. Okay. So, and then other things is that I impact factor, for example, there is an impact factor is calculated by Web of Science. That means that if the Web of Science it is not published or indexed in Web of Science, that journal is not taken into account. So this is also a factor. So books are not included because in humanities people tend to publish books. Hello. Ah, so database has English language bias, like this point I told already. Database is dominated by American publications all over the world in the past a century and more. America has dominated the scene of education, and that is reflected in the journals also. That there is a tend to be a bias towards America or sometimes to Europe rather than rest of the world. Journals and database may vary from year to year. That means that the indexing authorities this year I have in Scopus, that journal will not appear next year for some reason or other. So impact factor is a function of number of references per article in a research field. Sometimes what happens in a field like mathematics, where the impact factors are very low, but in fields like life sciences, the impact factors are very high. So because number of references at the end of the paper is at least about say 50 to 100 in the case of life sciences, whereas only 1 or 2 in the case of mathematics. So mathematics, every paper is a standalone paper in many respects, whereas in life sciences, the number of citations. Therefore, impact factors are very lopsided. In mathematics, impact factor 1 itself is considered to be world class, whereas in life sciences, if it's 1, means okay, this is some kind of a local journal. So this is some kind of misleading impact factor. Research fields with literature are rapidly becoming obsolete or favored. Okay, so the research fields with literature, that means and very forefront fields get favored. For example, stem cells. Today is one of those forefront areas. They get, but after 5 years or 10 years, that field itself disappears. Whereas some of the basic fields will always stay. Law, for example, will always stay. But some of the newer advents, they get cited, then they disappear also. So, but the journal takes away the credit. Okay. So that small research fields tend to lack journals with high impact factor. Nobody cites them. That is the reason why. Very specialized field journals, they don't get cited too much. So relations between clinical but basic research, for example, strongly determine the journal impact factor. So the relations between fields, clinicals versus basic research, they strong. So you have clinical component, basic research component, both get cited a lot. Citation rate of articles determine the journal, not the vice versa. So the journal impact is determined by citation rate, but not citation rate does not determine the journal. So in many respects, these are all the difficulties with respect to the impact factor itself. Therefore, what do we do? So come out with many alternatives. So the Web of Science came out with the alternative with mathematical artificial intelligence based algorithms. And I myself do not know much, therefore I will not spend too much. The Web of Science came out with what is called as Journal Citation Reports, JCR. So JCR, in particularly in life sciences field, has become more important than citation impact factor. So JCR provides ranking for journals in the area of science, technology, social sciences, and in separate fields. See, instead of giving impact factor, which will take into account of everything, but then they will now categorize in terms of the fields in which the papers are published. So it is better to compare journals in law with journals in law. At the best, you can go to humanities, but do not go to sciences. I think that's fair. So journal citation reports started by Web of Science takes this into account, that they have given citation reports for all fields like science, technology, and social sciences. For every journal covered, following information is collected and calculated: citation and article counts, impact factor, immediacy index, and cited life, half-life, citing half-life, source data listing, citing journal listing, cited journal listing, subject categories, and publisher information. Now let me elaborate on that. For maybe for law, it may not make some sense, but just think of that I published a paper and it got cited very high for 2 years and then disappeared from the scene because that field moved on, and the paper that I published now, although it elicited a lot of interest in the beginning, but it faded out because either my results have been superseded or my results have been disproved also. So in many respects, there is a half-life of a publication on same way of a journal also is taken into consideration. Okay. So immediacy index, that means how importantly the papers are that is published are immediately getting cited. Sometimes what happens, it takes a lot of time for people to get benefit of the knowledge that is given in the article, but sometimes they get an immediate impact. So for example, the discovery of fullerenes had an immediate impact in development of nanocarbons. So therefore it got cited enormously. But some of them take a long time. For example, black holes. Black holes, before it becomes accepted, it took more than 40 years before it becomes accepted and got cited. So in many respects, we can't tell which is a good research, which is not a good research. Okay, but we have to take into account. So these things are taken into consideration in while coming out with the numbers for general citation report. Today, people look into general citation reports, at least in life sciences, rather than impact factor. So, but the limitation of journal citation report is that it is limited to only Web of Science indexed journals. So there are only 12,000 journals in arts, humanities, social sciences in Web of Science, but then the comparison is there for only this 12,000 journals. It does not include any other this one. So therefore it has its own pitfall, because Web of Science is very, very selective in allowing things. So because impact factor mean little on their own, best way to view the journal if one is interested in comparison to other journals. So I would suggest that instead of looking at impact factor, look at journal, the JCR rather than impact factor. Okay. So these things are available in the Web of Science. So there is another way of, as I told you, some mathematical way of doing things using eigenvalues or eigenfactor to determine what is the importance or likely that a journal is to be used. So eigenfactor scores are intended to give a measure of how likely a journal is to be used this is generally called journal prestige. So if more articles are being used by a journal by subsequent authors, that means its prestige is also high. So in other respect is it's a good journal because everybody else want to read it. That's the idea. So it's a Harvard Law Review is a good journal because everybody want to read it. Means why should they read it? Because they will quote that article in some time in the future. So more they quote, better is the journal. So that's way, in holistically speaking, that how many papers are getting quoted, how many papers they are publishing, all these factors are built into an algorithm, mathematical way of dealing with things are called eigenfactor. So although I would not ask you to bother about this, but journal citation report is one measure to understand the how to assess the journals. Okay. Now, having said this, let me switch over to how Scopus does this. Scopus does it called what is called as SCI-MAGO or SIMAGO and journal and country rank. This the Scopus has come out like Web of Science. Scopus is a competitor indexing, they come out with SIMAGO number. I have given here SIMAGO numbers for, you are able to see this now? Hello?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
It is visible now.
Yes,
Clarity
sir.
is less, right? Clarity is good or okay?
Yes, sir.
It's okay, sir.
Okay. SIMAGO is always uses only by Scopus, whereas Journal Citation Report JCR is by Web of Science. Now, these two guys, they are very giant indexing agencies. They come out with their own, and then SIMAGO works on all sorts of things. The journal, subject, and country also it does. So country rank. I took from their own website and pasted it here. As you can see, SJR, SIMAGO journal index is given here is 88.12 for a journal called as a cancer journal for clinicians. This is one of the most quoted journal of the world. It is published from America. It is, you can take it out free. So I have taken it out. So, and then it also tells about H index, about which I will tell you. Total number of documents, it was published in 2019, and for 3 years, how they were quoted, how this particular journal articles were quoted, and very importantly, how many articles were quoted. Citable documents is 89, although the number of documents published is higher, but 89 of them were quoted. So, for example, second one, only 11 were quoted, but their quoting is very high. Each one of them had a high impact factor, highly quoted. So, it not only takes into account of a journal, it also takes into account of total number of publications that they have. Within that, how many of them are getting quoted by others. So, this is how I'll give more details about this normalized impact factor by SIMAGO. The source normalized impact per paper is called SNP. Source normalized impact per paper is by the Scopus. So it measures the contextual citation impact by weighing citations based upon total number of citations in a subject. The impact of a single citation is given higher value in a subject area, given subject area, where citations are less likely and vice versa. Unlike well-known journal impact factor, SNP corrects for differences in citation practices between scientific fields and thereby allowing for more accurate comparison between field and citation impact. So in future, people use the SNP tool or to find out the importance. So you might want to use SNP as a factor to determine which journals are good in field of law. So Scopus is there, and within Scopus and law, within law, which journals are good. So in a way, it is not, it is differentiating between impact factor, which is more like a generic, whereas SNP is more focused on a particular subject. So I would request you to look at Scopus. So the main difference between impact factor provided by journal CW journal indicator in particular and impact factor per publication, source normalized impact factor SNP are based upon Scopus, whereas journal impact factor is based upon JAF is based upon Web of Science. Correction for field difference is there for SNP. No correlation for field difference is for the Web of Science. So there is that's how Scopus is more accurate because that correction is there. So 3-year period, remember this, for Scopus takes into account 3-year period, whereas the Web of Science takes into account of only 2-year period. Citations from selected sources and selected document types only in impact per publication or source normalized impact factor versus citation from all sources and document types in the journal impact factor maintained by Web of Science. What does it mean? Means that only journals are taken into consideration for Scopus, whereas not only journals, other documents are also considered in the case of Web of Science. That's all it means. So one should, these are all two things, two independent things, and one may want to take into consideration of both. But today, all over the world, the SNP of the Scopus is considered as a better barometer. So when you want to publish, look into Scopus, more chances are there. That's the idea. Whereas Web of Science is much more. Now, this Web of Science came out with another matrix, or what is called as site score. So site score is another method to track a journal performance and make decisions. Okay, so site score is again by Elsewhere only. That is even more accurate than journal impact factor and SNIP. So I would say that site score you can take, and it gives a 3-year citation window, and that way you can look into the site score. Site score takes into account of a calculation of site score is given here. For a 2015 site score of a given journal in a given field, they take into account of 3 years of publications where they give A by B. A is the for 2015, B is for the 3 years, and the number of citation. So site score matrix calculates citation from all documents in a year to all documents published in for prior to 3 years for a title. This offers a more robust and accurate indication of a journal impact. So an example, to calculate a 2015 value for site score counts the citations received in 2015, citations in 2015 from the articles published for the past 3 years. So it is site score is a annual basis. So this is one other method or assessing the how good is a journal. Okay, site score is more accurate. We are really looking at more and more accurate way of doing things. I took from the website of the site score results, and Cancer Journal for Clinicians site score continues to be a topmost journal, and for the site score is given as 160.19. If we go back to 160.19 and go one slide back, and how did 160.19 came? It came from the citations given in 2015, citations received in 2015 of a journal published and divided by number of articles published for 3 years. So it means that number of articles published for 3 years is, let us say, 10 articles per year, 30, and it came out with 1,800 publications. So it's 1,800 citations. 1,800 divided by 30 is 600. So 600 is the site score of this particular journal. Now you can see that a particular journal here is 160. So 160, times that each article is published is the site score for journal. Hello, please mute.
Participants are requested to mute.
Manjunathan, please mute. Mr. Bhagat also, please mute. So what I can tell you, please mute. Okay. Next thing I took from their thing is itself. But let us use one slide because I have 7 minutes left. I would like to show you what is the meaning of H index, what is the meaning of G index, what is I10 index, and what is the meaning of Allmetric. So H index is very simple. Number of times individual. This is for individual or for a journal also. Journal H index. How many times that journal is getting published? How many is of its papers, number of papers. For example, H index is 37. That means that the 37 papers of either the individual or a journal have been cited at least 37 times. So higher the H index, higher is the the level of research done by individual. That means I publish some 100 papers. but my H index is only 5, let us say. What does it mean? That although I publish 100 papers, they're all junk papers. Only 5 of them are being cited at least 5 times. So I would like to have a high H index, because not only I publish uh, limited number of papers, but each paper has a high index, high H factor. Let us suppose I published 40 papers and I have 40 is the H index. Then what it means? That all the 40 papers have been at least cited once. And if I have 40 papers and my citation H index is 80, that means each one of my papers is at least twice published, twice cited. So in a way that I am doing a good research work. That's the idea. So although I was introduced that I published 140 papers, but what is my H index? That is more important, because nobody is really reading my papers is what is not cited. Okay. So advantage of H index, it allows for direct comparison within the disciplines and measure the quality and impact by a single value. Disadvantages, does not give an accurate measure of early career researchers. That means you are starting today and you are publishing a good paper. It takes some time for citations. So your work is not recognized compared to somebody who is established. Okay, so that is one negative point of this H index. Okay, let me jump to tools for measuring H index is Web of Science or Google Scholar. Google Scholar also gives H index. I10 index is essentially G factor is another is there. Let me quickly run to G index, so that then I will have G index also. That means at least G to the power of 2 times. So the square. So for example, I have 2 papers and 2 to the power of 2 is 4. At least 4 times should be cited to be called a 2 there. So that's very, very low for many people. But in India, we used to call it as I10 index. So Google Scholar has introduced I10 index is that how many papers were cited at least 10 times. That's very simple. At least 10 times. Straightforward, simple, and very easy to use. But then I10 index is one thing. So is altimetric is another way of looking at is who is talking about your research is comes out with altmetric. That means not necessarily cited, but then what is the impact it made not only in journals, in policy matters or policy publications and such things. For example, in law, this may have a better thing, but others may not quote you in a journal, but use the information available from your article in many other policy documents which are not entering into journals. Okay. So at the end, I have few minutes left. I want to introduce you to one extraordinarily useful website which I have myself downloaded. It's free. It's called Publish or Perish. In Publish or Perish, which one can download, it is free for all the people, academicians. It is an open way of finding out how impact factor is, how impactful is our work. In Publish or Perish, please note down this website and download. And I have given this information to all faculty of Sharda University. When you download it, you can go through this Publish or Perish, which I am sharing with you. It shows that we can just enter the search way, whether it is on a Microsoft Academic or cross-referencing Google Scholar, Scopus, or Google Scholar Profile or Web of Science. It searches by itself. By just go and give your name or the publication title or the journal title or the institution title, then it will come out with all the data by looking into the world available. So for example, I have taken out myself and out of mine, and you can see that one of our paper has been cited 172 times and an average of 7.82 a year. All the details come out, and if you click on it, even the paper comes out. Okay, So that way it is advantageous. And all my papers, you can see that most cited paper is 172, next most cited paper is 149, and next one is 102, all sorts of 97, 87 like that. But if you go down, there are some papers which were not even cited. So I have lots of, this type, that type. So this is what I thought I will tell you. I tried to show you how you would assess a journals, and I also showed you a tool which you can download for free, and then how you can use it to get the assessment done. So this is in quick manner, in about 50 minutes time that I have, that I did try to give you some kind of a flavor how to assess a journal. Of course, my perspective is from sciences. I'm sure you shall be able to have it to take away some message from this. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for eloquently addressing the topic. Sir, if you allow us, can we take a couple of questions?
Absolutely, absolutely. Although I see that 3.00, but then absolutely, I'll be delighted to take questions.
Okay, I'll just take a couple of questions. So this question is from Ms. Lohita, and I read, according to UGC guidelines, one article publication in Scopus has been made mandatory. What is
Yes.
the estimated time for publication of an article in Scopus?
Well, this answer is difficult to give and easy to give. Okay. Generally, what happens is journal average time taken for publishing an article is given by Scopus. So if you go to Scopus website, they give this particular also. Average time, generally journals themselves will give in their own website. If not, Scopus also gives. So you might want to publish in a journal which takes least amount of time to publish the articles, but best amount of refereeing. So that way, UGC lists Scopus papers, but in humanities, average time that it takes to publish an article is anywhere between 3 months to 6 months. But in sciences, it is much less time. It is anywhere between 15 days. That means half a month to 3 months. So 3 months period is a long period in sciences. But in humanities, that it takes a bit longer time. So my answer to your question is that kindly look into the website of a journal. Also access this information from Scopus, which is available for free, provided you register yourself.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Sir, the next question is from Miss Archana, and I read, in terms of getting PhD, is publication in peer-reviewed journal is enough, or whether publication in UGC care list journals is mandatory?
See, in the case of publication for as a prerequisite for PhD, let me tell you very simple. UGC has made a rule. That rule says that UGC care journal at least, but they have mentioned peer reviewed. So peer reviewed journalism must, but not necessarily a Scopus journal. However, in Sharda University, we have made a rule. We have made a rule that 2 in Scopus Index journal and 1 in at least in UGC care journal is a requirement. We have made a stringent rule in Sharda University to uphold higher levels of research outputs. Okay. So you can blame us or support us, but that's what we did. So UGC is a little bit more lenient, and it said that 1 publication. In a peer-reviewed journal, non-peer-reviewed, for example, newspaper, it's not a peer-reviewed thing. Therefore, it's not, that publication is also called publication, no. Or your collection of poems in a book, it's also called publication. But that is not, it's not peer-reviewed. That's the reason.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. This is the last question. This question is from Dr. A, and I read, sir, I got a paper published in a Scopus Index journal, but
Yes.
I can't find my Scopus ID from the Scopus site. Would you please guide me how to search for the same?
Okay. This is a specific question. there is Scopus ID. As far as I know, there is no Scopus ID other than the year of publication of a journal and the volume in which this is published and page numbers where it got published. So a journal name followed by year of publication and followed by the volume in which this journal was, paper was published, and page numbers between which it was published. Some journals today are switching over to not page numbers, but a sequence of papers which are published in a journal. So, but each paper may have page numbers 1 to 5, 1 to 7, or 1 to 10, or whatever that may be. But therefore, I would say like that, wherever I have gone, the the ID is reference is an internal matter of a Scopus or any journal for that matter. Okay, Scopus doesn't figure in, journal figures in. Whenever we submit an article for publication, they give an ID number. Just that ID number is an internal matter as far as the journal is concerned. Okay, Scopus is concerned, it gives you a details about where your paper got published. This is what I would know. And more than that, I also don't know really.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. I think we are done with the questions, and there are a few other questions, but I think you have already addressed those questions through this PPT and
I
session.
have actually given my email ID right in the beginning. Therefore, if somebody wants to, ask me anything further, I'll be too happy to tell to the limit of my knowledge, of course.
Thank you very much, sir.
Because I
Thank you,
am
sir.
not in the field of law. That is one issue that I have. But I realize that whether I'm in a field of law or not, the publications is same for anybody.
Definitely, sir.
All right.
Sir, I would like to thank you once again for guiding us thoroughly on how to assess and access the good journal, also providing us the detailed information about the impact factor, journal citation review, ICANN factor, and sites, etc. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. On behalf of all, I would like to thank you for your precious presence and guiding. Thank you so much. I
Thank
would
you very
also
much,
like
sir.
to thank you all the participants for patiently listening.